My pleasure to introduce the next portion of our call, and that's Jake's Sponsor Corner. Here to lead that off is no other than Jake Huzaruk, our VP of Business Development here, and he'll be speaking with Bill Neville to talk about the Entrust Group. So Jake and Bill, over to you.
Thanks, Lewis. And Bill, of course, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for sponsoring today. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about the Entrust Group, and I think everyone on the call is as well. So start at square one. Tell me about the Entrust Group. What do you do? How are you unique? And who is a fit for your services?
Yeah, thanks, Jake, for having us. So we are we're a custodian and record keeper of what are called self-directed retirement accounts. And what makes us unique is that not many retirement account custodians, your Merrill Lynch's, Charles Schwab's, Fidelity's of the world, are willing to operate true self-directed retirement accounts, and which are accounts that are able to hold non-traditional assets, like a cannabis, like a private company in cannabis would be considered a non-traditional asset. So really, who our sort of target audience is and who's the best fit for our service is people who are interested in investing in non-traditional assets inside their retirement account. Instead of being limited to just publicly traded stock, bonds, and mutual funds, they want to invest in something outside that limited, narrow scope of investment opportunities.
All right. Well, what are self-directed retirement accounts, and how are they different from typical retirement accounts, which we're all familiar with?
Well, the accounts themselves aren't any different. It's more about the custodian that you have the account with. So when somebody opens an account with us, it's still going to be either a traditional IRA or a Roth or a SEP or a 401k. The account itself is exactly the same. The difference is we're a self-directed custodian, which means that we don't advise our clients, we don't sell any investments, we don't promote or endorse any particular investment. And if someone wants to invest in a non-traditional asset, which again is anything other than a publicly traded stock, bond, or mutual fund, we will provide all the custodial and record-keeping services. So they can establish a traditional IRA with us or a Roth IRA and then instruct us to invest in a private company or to buy an investment property or to invest in precious metals or something that isn't just limited to publicly traded stocks, bonds, and mutual funds.
Sure. Well, that kind of begs the question is, what's the most unique opportunity you've seen someone use this for if it's used for non-traditional?
Yeah, I get that question a lot. I mean, we had somebody invest in a racehorse one time inside the retirement account. We had people invest in cattle, in a bowling alley, in an airplane. I don't know that anybody did this with Entrust, but I know of stories of somebody buying bull semen as an asset. It's an asset, right? That is considered, and these are all considered assets that, as long as they're used for investment purposes only, are allowed to be held. The IRS says you can make that investment inside your retirement account as long as the custodian that you have the account with is willing to hold that asset.
Wow, bull semen, 2 words I never thought I'd hear at Arcview.
Yeah.
Well, why can't, this is a follow-up question here, but why can't the banks and brokerage firms hold those assets? Why do we need a company like Entrust to hold a retirement account?
It's not that they can't, it's that they choose not to. Their business model is around advising you and then selling you from their suite of funds, and then they charge a commission, they earn, and it's just how their business model is. There is nothing preventing Merrill Lynch or Charles Schwab or somebody like that from holding an investment in a startup cannabis company or a piece of real estate or a horse like we did, a racehorse, right? They're allowed, they choose not to. Whereas in our case, and we've been doing this for almost 40 years, we elect specifically to be a custodian that holds non-traditional asset. As long as it's not specifically prohibited by the Internal Revenue Code, we will, and there are certain rules around that we don't have time to get into, but as long as you're not engaging in what's called self-dealing, you're allowed to invest in almost anything you want inside your retirement account. As long as it doesn't violate, the IRS rules, we will process and hold that investment.
Got it. 40 years. Wow. What are Entrust's main goals, and how can you add value for our network?
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason that we are sponsoring this and trying to get the word out is that not a lot of people know about this. Like the general population, even though you've always been allowed to do it, a lot of I guess real estate investors is a good example, are aware that you can invest in real estate inside your retirement account. But in the cannabis space specifically, because it's such a, I mean, the legality of it is becoming more and more, it's becoming more and more legal. More and more people are becoming interested in investing in it. And not many of these people know that this is an asset that you're allowed to hold inside the retirement account. These are typically privately held companies. And simply the IRS allows you to invest inside privately held companies inside your retirement account, as long as you have it with the custodian-like interest. So our goal is we're trying to spread the word. We're trying to get the word out both to the companies who are looking to raise capital to say, look, if you are out there trying to raise capital and you have people in your network, if you have friends or family or anybody like that who might want to invest with you, but don't think that they have the money, then they may have it in like an old 401k or an IRA that they might be wanting to invest, and they're not having to withdraw. It's not a taxable event. The asset is purchased and held inside the retirement account. So it's a tax sheltered investment that they're holding inside the retirement account. So the companies who are looking to raise capital, it's like, hey, did you know that this is a thing? You might have people in your network who want to invest with you that don't think they have the money because they don't have it in their personal savings. They might have it in their retirement account. They don't have to take the tax hit. They can do the investment inside the retirement account. And for you investors out there, if you see some investment that you want to make and maybe they're looking for at least a certain dollar amount and you don't have it all in your savings account, here's another access where, again, you don't have to withdraw it. You don't have to take the tax hit. You simply have to move it to a custodian-like trust, and then you can process it as an investment inside your retirement account. And I will point out, we are virtually the only retirement account custodian record keeper who is willing to hold cannabis-related investments. We have been getting calls from people who will call other self-directed custodians. We have competitors who will call them up and say, hey, I've got this investment, but it's a cannabis fund or it's a cannabis company. And they're all getting turned away. Their regulators or their compliance departments are not willing to hold it because it's not federally legal. We've been doing this now. We've been holding cannabis-related investments because from our standpoint, it's simply a private placement. It's a private company or it's a private fund. In terms of like what ultimately the company is doing inside that, the IRS says you can invest in private companies. And as long as it's not, the transaction's not prohibited by the IRS, we will process and hold that investment.
Wow, that's fascinating. I mean, this is, I think these webinars are a course for education, and I find myself learning new stuff, even in Jake's Sponsor Corner. Well, thank you. And for those listening today, what is the best way to get in touch with you? And can you tell me more about this offer you're running?
Yeah. Yep. So, you can reach out to me. My email is my first initial and my last name. So bneville@thentrustgroup.com. We have a website, which is www.thentrustgroup.com. And my phone number, if you want it, is 510-587-0950. That's our company number. Then my extension is 237. And in effect, if anybody who wants to open an account and is watching this or like pass it on to other people, we have an account establishment fee of $50. It's $50 to open an account with us. We'll waive that fee for anybody who wants to open an account who's watching this. And simply if you go to open the account online, which is the quickest way to do it, you simply have to enter in the promotion code, which is my initials, BN, and then the number 50. So BN50, make sure the B and the N are capitalized. And we waive the $50 new account establishment fee when you do that. Or if you contact me or email me or call me, just remind me that you saw me on Arcview. And, if you can also open an account using paper applications, we'll waive the fee, just remind me, or again, I'll remind you what the code is.
Excellent. Well, that brings us to the end. And just as a recap, b.neville@thentrustgroup.com. Is that right?
Not b.neville, just b Neville.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry. bneville@thentrustgroup.com.
There you go.
At thentrustgroup.com. And of course, that's $50. That's saving your establishment fee with the code BN50. Capital B, capital N. Don't screw that up. Well, the way I screwed it up. Thanks, Bill. I really
Thanks,
appreciate
Jake.
it.